empty, broken pack of diclofenac injection, paracetamol diluted with water, water for injection, 6 hand gloves, 1 bandage, 1 plaster, and 1 iodine solution. Also separately recovered is the mobile phone of the deceased. All have been registered as exhibits. We also visited, the investigation team also visited Kura Med Hospital, Perez Hospital, Chandelier Nightclub, VI, which represents one of the scenes where the deceased in the viral video was assaulted at the Elegushi Beach also. Medical opinion. In addition, as part of investigative efforts that are aimed at obtaining expert opinion in the likely cause of death of Mohbad through a professional review of the actions of Auxillary nurse Feyisayo Ogedengbe, the principal suspect. On 26 September 2023, a team of medical doctors, pharmacists, and nurses drawn from the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, Nigerian Medical Association, and the Nigerian Police Force Medical Services jointly interviewed the auxiliary nurse. A detailed report, which is being utilized as an expert opinion and critical evidence of high prosecutorial value, has been submitted. It specifically identifies some illegal acts and professional negligence in the manner the drugs were administered on the deceased by the principal suspects. The report also confirmed that as an auxiliary nurse, Ms. Feyisayo does not have the competence, knowledge, brief, or certification to diagnose, prescribe, or administer drugs and injections on patients, as she was supposed to work under the directive and supervision of a qualified medical doctor or nurse while on duty. The report also strongly projected that there is a link between the medical negligence of auxiliary nurse Feyisayo Ogedengbe and the death of Mohbad. Sequence of events directly accounting for the death of Mohbad. Based on investigation, this represents the sequence of events that eventually culminated in his death. On 10th September 2023, Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad, attended a musical concert at Ikorodu Town Hall at about 21:00 hours on the invitation of one Soso Soberekon to promote the General Bitters beverages, which is marketing. Mohbad arrived at the venue of the event at about 19:00 hours in company of his wife, Mrs. Cynthia Omowumi Adebanjo, and their 5-month-old baby. His childhood friend, Ibrahim Oluwatosin Owodunni.Primeboy, and Mohbad's personal assistant, Adeyemo Boluwatife, alias Darosa, all of whom were in the Prado Jeep, which was hired by Mohbad for the event and driven by Felix Esambo. Others that accompany Mohbad in separate vehicles include Ayobami Sadiq, Spending, Aduragbe Shedrack Aloba, who is the younger brother of Mohbad, Ajisegiri Sultan Ayobami, Mohbad's DJ, Aderinto Fawaz Ademola Adewest, Mohbad's friend, and Olariwaji Idris Adedoja, alias OG, his photographer. Other musical acts that performed along with Mohbad at the show included Zlatan, Sheum Kuti, and DJ Fokati. At the end of his performance at about 23:00 hours, as he made to exit the venue with his entourage, he discovered that his vehicle had been blocked by other vehicles, while some of his fans and area boys also moved him. Mohbad, who from witnesses' evidence was said to be tipsy and hyperactive, became infuriated, and as he attempted to come down to clear the road, Ibrahim, his friend, prevailed on him not to do so for his personal safety. This further infuriated Mohbad, and it eventually degenerated into a hot argument between the two of them and physical fights. In the course of an attempt by Mohbad to hit Ibrahim with a blow, Mohbad missed him and smashed his hand against the window of their Prado Jeep, causing him an injury on his forehand, and he bled profusely. Eventually, the situation was brought under control, and they all departed for the Lekki residence of Mohbad, excluding Ibrahim. Upon arrival at home at about 0200 hours of 11 September 2023, Mohbad refused to go to the hospital to treat his injury, despite persistent persuasion by his wife, staffs, and friends, including the Prado Jeep driver, whose vehicle was damaged. Later in the day, the injured hand, which was still bleeding on the second day, started getting swollen, causing Mohbad unbearable pains.
This is the injury. You may also pass it on.
How it got swollen by the second day. So at this point, his friend Ayobami Sodiq Spending, who noticed the increasing pains, further insisted that he must go to the hospital for treatment. Mohbad still resisted and opted to call his personal nurse, identified as Nurse Fumi, who unfortunately was not available. At this point, Ayobami Sodiq Spending offered to call his own nurse to attend to Mohbad. That nurse turned out to be the auxiliary nurse, Ms. Feisayo Ogedengbe, a suggestion that Mohbad consented to. When Ms. Feisayo was contacted at about 14:30 hours on Monday, 11 September 2023, she was unavailable but promised to come the following day, being Tuesday, 12 September 2023. Ahead of her arrival, she requested that the picture of the swollen hand/injury area be videoed and snapped and sent to her for assessment to guide on the medication to come along with. This was eventually done. At about 14:35 hours on 12th September 2023, Ms. Feisayo eventually arrived armed with one pack of cetrazone injection, one vial paracetamol injection, tetanus toxoid injection, one vial procaine penicillin injection, 7 ampoules of IM diclofenac, tincture iodine, several needles and syringes. Ms. Feisayo administered the tetanus toxoid on the arm of Mohbad and gave both the paracetamol and cetrazone injection intravenously. Immediately the cetrazone injection was administered, Ms. Feisayo confirmed that Mohbad started vomiting, while goose pimples appeared on his face and all over his body. At this point, it dawned on Ms. Feisayo that Mohbad was reacting to the administered medications. She consequently ran out to procure hydro and nizafane infusion. While at the pharmacy in the locality, she got a call that Mohbad had started convulsing. Eventually, Cynthia Omoduni Adebanjo, Adura Abeni Shedrack Aloba, Olanrewaju Idris Adedoja, Ayinde Habib Idowu Owohunwa, Aderinto Fawaz, and Ms. Feisayo rushed him to the hospital in the vehicle of engineer Chinara Jesse, their neighbor. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead on arrival at Kurabed Hospital, Lekki. Not convinced, the team moved his body to Perez Hospital, Lekki, where his death was recertified. A death certificate was later issued by Kuramed Hospital. Mohbad's father, who had earlier been contacted on the development, came to the late Mohbad's house, and after a short meeting, resolved to move the body to Ikorodu for burial, which was done the following day, 13 September 2023, at about 14:00 hours. This is the narrative. Now, allegations of bullying, assault, and possible complicity in the death of Mohbad by Larry and Naira Marley. During the investigation, series of allegations of bullying, threat to life, and possible complicity in the death of Mohbad by Naira Marley and Larry were raised from various quarters. This prompted the special investigation team to widen the scope of their investigation to that aspect. Several videos touching on the allegations were analyzed and witnesses were interviewed. Many of the witnesses earlier listed, as the 26 witnesses, many of them alleged that this deceased was indeed bullied and assaulted several times by Naira Marley and Larry and their gangs. It was affirmed that sometime in 2019, the deceased was allegedly signed by Naira Marley into a record label known as Malian Music Limited. Due to disagreement in terms of the contract, the deceased pressed for the revocation of his contractual relationship with Malian Music, while also pushing to relieve his then manager, who was a brother to Naira Marley. It was alleged that this moves eyed the suspects, who in consequence allegedly severally conspired, bullied, and assaulted the deceased. It was also asserted by some witnesses with corroborative video evidence that before his demise, Mohbad had raised alarm that his life was being threatened, that he was being bullied and assaulted by Naira Marley and Larry. Upon their arrest, Abdulaziz Abdeshinoj Fashola Naira Marley and Samson Erifolami Balogun Larry denied allegations of complicity in the death of Mohbad by pleading an alibi that they were both out of the country when the incident occurred, and they were not in any manner involved in the chain of events that occasions his eventual death between 10th to 12th September 2023. However, there are preponderance of evidence linking both Naira Marley and Larry to the allegations of threat to life, cyber stalking, and sundry crimes committed against Mohbad in his lifetime, and they are being so held liable. Interim findings. From investigations so far conducted, it has been established as follows. 1. The chain of events that directly and specifically led to the death of Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad, occurred between 10th to 13th September 2023, and the location of incident stretched over Ikorodu and Lekki, Lagos. Feisayo Ogedengbe, female, who as an auxiliary nurse administered multiple and highly potent injections, which triggered an immediate reaction that eventually occasioned the death of Mohbad, is a principal suspect in the homicide case. Feisayo Ogedengbe is not a qualified registered nurse, and her illegal and medical negligence are believed to have been directly responsible for the chain reactions and eventual death of Mohbad at 15:43 hours on 12 September 2023. The time within which auxiliary nurse Ogedengbe administered the injections on Mohbad, through his reactions, convulsion, and eventual death, is confirmed to be within less than an hour, covering from 1440 hours when the principal suspect administered the sets of injection and 1543 hours when Mohbad was confirmed dead at Kuramed Hospital. Aside her admittance to the consequences of her actions, the report of the medical panel that reviewed auxiliary nurse Feyisayo's actions concluded that she went beyond her limitations as an auxiliary nurse by administering intravenously cetrazone on the deceased, and that this, from their review, was the most likely cause of the anaphylactic reaction, which could have been promptly resolved and his death possibly prevented if the disease was treated in the hospital. Ibrahim Larry.Primeboy is also considered as complicit in the chain of events that led to the eventual death of Mohbad, as the injury that culminated in actions which led to his death was sustained in the course of physical combat between him and Mohbad. Ayobami Sodiq Splendin is also considered complicit in the homicide case for inviting Feyisayo Ogedengbe, whom he knew to be an unqualified and unregistered nurse, to administer the potent medications that eventually triggered reactions leading to Mohbad's death. While Abdulaziz Fashola, Naira Marley, and Samson Balogun Larry denied allegations of criminal liability in the death of Mohbad and pleaded an alibi to justify their not being complicit in the incidents that occurred from 10 to 12 September 2023. There are ample electronic and credible witnesses evidence linking them to cyberbullying, cyberstalking, threat to life, assaults, occasioning harm, and conduct likely to cause breach of the peace against the deceased in his lifetime, following their roles in the incidents that occurred at the Chandelier Club and Elegushi Beach in June 2023, as well as the alleged assault on Mohbad in October 2022 around the residence of and Samson Balogun, Eletu, Sam Larry were not in Lagos, Nigeria when the events that directly led to Mohbad's death occurred between 10th to 12th September 2023. While Naira Marley was out of the country from 21st August to 3rd October when he reported and was arrested, when he returned and was arrested, Sam Larry was out of the country from 4th to 28th September when he also returned to the country and was arrested. On the demise of the deceased, his remains were buried at Ikorodu by his relatives on 13th September 2023, prior to the uproar that greeted his death and which informed the launch of the homicide investigation. On 21st September 2023, the corpse was exhumed, and on same date at about 16:00 hours, autopsy was performed on the remains of the deceased, and vital specimens were taken and sent to Lagos State DNA and Forensic Center for toxicology examination. The reports are still being awaited. Also being awaited is the official response from NDLEA on one of the viral videos containing allegations by the singer on his experience at the agency's Lagos office sometime in October 2022. Conclusion. Although the results of the autopsy and toxicology tests are being awaited, substantial grounds have been covered well enough by the Special Investigation Team to support the processing of the case file to the Director of Public Prosecution. Consequently, the case file is being duplicated and forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecution for vetting and legal advice, the outcome of which will inform further investigation, investigative actions, and prosecution. While reassuring that the command will sustain its firm determination to ensure justice in this case, I wish to assure that the members of the public will be availed of any further development in relation to the outcome of the autopsy and toxicology reports, DPP advice, feedback from NDLEA, and any other developments in the investigation into this case. I thank you for your coverage.